Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. In this video I'll be talking about the WWE event by the name of Halloween Havoc for the year of 2021. Not exactly a pay-per-view, but I would say it's probably the next best thing to a pay-per-view. Several of the matches on this card and previous year's card for the flagship event of NXT's Halloween Havoc for the year of 2021 are just as good of matches that they would have on a pay-per-view, if not better. So they might as well call it a pay-per-view because it pretty much is. The only difference is it doesn't come, it will be on Peacock, but it doesn't air exclusively on Peacock or the WWE Network or whatever you want to call it. It airs on USA, the channel. So we started off our night with the women's tag team titles of Toxic Attraction against Persia Pirotta, forgive me if I pronounced these name wrongs, Indy Hartwell, and then the other team, the champs, of course, of Io Shirai and Zoe Stark. This was a really great way to open up the night. I loved everything about this match. This was probably one of the best matches of the night, in my opinion, if not best match of the night. These women were able to showcase their skills in a great way. We have a lot of newcomers in this match. Of course, Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane, if I'm not mistaken, are their names. And they've been able to showcase their wrestling skills in this match. They've done great recently. I believe one of the girls, JC Jane, almost had a concussion just a couple of weeks ago. So you show how given to the wrestling business they are and how really dedicated they are to just showing who they are as new up and coming wrestlers in the women's division. So it's really cool to see them come out and win this match. I figured they would win. Shirai and Stark had a really cool, fun reign, but I think it's time to switch over the titles, and I think Toxic Attraction did really well. In my opinion, the MVP of this match, though, was Indy Hartwell. She had some great spots as she took a lot of bumps. She put other women through ladders. There was some great spots with her. She did her patented spine buster move that she always does. So I think Indy Hartwell, in my opinion, was the MVP, just my personal opinion. Really underrated women's wrestler, I think. And then you got Persia Pirotta, who did some neat spots in this one. She had a match, I think, just last week with Io Shirai, where she was really able to showcase her skills. She's got a nice sit-out powerbomb style, similar to what Kevin Owens or somebody would do in the men's division. And it's a really nice move, I think. It was a great tag team title match, and I think, like I said, probably one of the best matches of the night. And it was a cool title change. This guy only gave it a C+. I have to kind of disagree with that, because I really enjoyed the match. Our next match was between Joe Gacy and Malik Blade. I'm not really, if you've watched my other NXT reviews, you know I'm not big on the character Joe Gacy. Is he growing on me? Not really. The storyline, I will say, is growing on me as he tries to, we have a new character by the name of Harlan that he's like looking in the prison, so I'm not sure if Gacy's becoming like a cult leader, and then here is his first follower of Harlan, so I'm interested to see where the storyline's going. Gacy is one of those people that I think may grow on me over time, but right now he hasn't yet. We don't really know too much about Harlan to really have an opinion at the moment. And then Malik Blade, obviously we don't know too much about him. Besides, he looks like he's probably more of a high flyer wrestler, kind of his small and skinny stature. But overall, an okay match. We need to see more out of, I think more out of Gacy and Blade, and then of course Harlan to get an opinion. We have Odyssey Jones and Roderick Strong. I wasn't big on this in the fact that, we have people that are coming for obviously the 205 or the Cruiserweight Championship, and obviously Odyssey Jones, not being a smaller guy, can't compete for this match. So I didn't really understand the booking between Strong and Jones. I like Odyssey Jones a lot. I think he could go a long way in the business, but I just didn't really understand this one. I didn't like how, I'm not big on the Diamond Mind. I like Roderick Strong a lot as a singles wrestler, but I'm not big on the Diamond Mind. I like the wrestlers in the Diamond Mind, but just not the gimmick itself. Wasn't really too fond of Strong getting the one-up on Jones. That's just my personal opinion. Our next match was for a women's title match for the NXT Women's Championship between Mandy Rose and Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel Gonzalez is a great women's wrestler. It'll be interesting to see where she goes after this loss. She's had some great matches with Rhea Ripley in the past, and obviously she made a name for herself at the War Games match where she pinned Io Shirai And in my opinion, that was the turning point in her career, which would eventually solidify her as an NXT Women's Champion. This is one of those matches where now that the Toxic Attraction won, I figured Mandy Rose would fall in line and win this also. My personal opinion on Toxic Attraction and Mandy Rose is I like the gimmick. I'm not super in love or super over with the gimmick. I see what they're going for here. Kind of a more sexy, risque version of these women. It's a decent gimmick. I hate to look at it from a political side, but I think at times, we're past the objectifying and the objectification of women and stuff like that. I'm not trying to bring that up or anything or bring a political point up, but I think sometimes we're past that. But with the camera angles and stuff like that, you can see what they're going for. Maybe an older style of things that we would used to have in years past in wrestling, which I certainly don't mind. But I think we're past stuff like that, and I think this is one of those cases where Toxic Attraction can be a really over women's faction without having that gimmick on them. They can be this powerful women's, they can be sexy and powerful and everything about it without having the execution of the camera angles and stuff like that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and you can give me your own opinions on that. Either way, it's great to see Mandy Rose win as she gets her first title ever in NXT or in WWE in general, so it's really cool to see that. We also had that was our next match. I like the ending there with Kai. I think this was one of those cases where Mandy Rose, in my opinion, I see what they're going for here. Raquel Gonzalez being this very powerful woman, they didn't want to see her didn't want Rose to get a clean pin on her. So instead, they had, and my tablet just died, so I will do my best to remember the rest of the matches. But we had Dakota Kai come out there with the bright sort of Barbie pink-like hair and get more of a distraction win because of that. So it'll be interesting to see where they take this storyline between Kai and Gonzalez. Maybe somebody will come over to SmackDown or Raw in the next couple of months. Let's see what Toxic Attraction does with these titles. Like I said, I'm going to do my best to talk about the matches now that my tablet turned off. We'll at least talk about the title matches, right? Yes, we also had, this wasn't a title match, but it was a real fun segment, similar to what they did last year with Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis and the sort of haunted cinematic horror match house, whatever you want to call it. This time we had kind of like a tag team deal going on. We had Gargano and Dexter Lumis, and then we had Trick and Carmelo Hayes. A very fun segment, a funny segment, as they went throughout this house and kind of a spook house and different scenarios happened. Like I said, a very fun segment, not really a match, but more of a kind of a cinematic movie segment that they've been known to use recently. Haven't seen one in a little while, but overall a fun segment that I liked. I like Carmelo Hayes and Trick. I think they're some of the better new NXT up-and-coming talents when you compare them to like Joe Gacy and the coach, the university guy, and some of the newer talent that I'm not very fond of. I think Hayes and Trick are some of the better talents and newer talents in the division. We had a tag team championship match between MSK and Imperium. This is one of those matches that could have went either way. I wouldn't have minded seeing MSK have a longer title reign. Still not sure on why the live crowd at NXT boos them. This is one of those cases where online it seems that people like them for the most part on Twitter and stuff. I'm sure there's people that don't. Not really sure where that comes from. They haven't had the titles for a real long time. They haven't done anything story-wise that would get them any sort of heat or anything like that, or for people to boo them. So I'm not really sure why the NXT crowd boos them and stuff like that. Maybe you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I like MSK a lot. They came over from Impact as the Rascals. They got their championships that they never got on Impact, so I thought it was cool. Both a couple of young up-and-coming breakout stars, in my opinion. Be interested to see where they go after this loss. Imperium now becomes two-time NXT champions. Last time they held the belts, I didn't think they held them nearly long enough. They only held the belts for maybe a month or so, if I'm not mistaken, back when Fandango and them were there. So this will be interesting to see them hold these titles longer, and maybe it'll sort of introduce us to Walter in the NXT universe. Maybe Walter can come in there and maybe get a title or something like that. So we'll see where this goes. I think Imperium is definitely a great tag team. Maybe even an underrated tag team. Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bratel are just both a couple of really cool wrestlers with an interesting, unique gimmick of the mat being sacred and stuff like that. So this was a solid match, one that I really enjoyed. And then we had our main events, of course, between Tommaso Ciampa, our NXT Men's Champion, against our new upcoming wrestling talent by the name of Braun Breaker. And this was a fun match. There were several times where you really thought they were going to hand the title to Braun Breaker. I thought to myself, I was like, this guy's very new, he's very green, and they're really going to give him the title. I thought they were going to a couple of times with those quick pinfalls. They really got your attention with that, so it was very cleverly done. But, of course, Tommaso Ciampa was able to put away Braun Breaker with a 1-2-3 count. So I'm interested to see who is going to challenge Ciampa in the future. I'm not against Braun Breaker getting it in the future, but in my opinion, it was just a little early. I didn't feel like he was sort of over with me, but not really. And I still got to win me over a little bit. He's a guy that likes to do a lot of suplexes and stuff like that, belly to bellies and stuff. So I need to see a little bit more of his wrestling and stuff like that. I hate to be a critic, but that's just how I am. But overall, a fun match. Like I said, best match on the card for me was probably, like I said earlier, the women's tag team ladder match, as they were able to put on a great match with a lot of really cool spots showcasing these new women tag teams that, in my opinion, the NXT tag team women's division is probably better than the SmackDown and Raw women's tag team division. That's just how it is. Overall, Halloween Havoc was a great, fun event. Chucky is always cool to see announce these segments, as they had different segments of the pre-recorded segments of his cheesy kind of ones and pun-liners, and they've really done a great job promoting Chucky. I don't want to talk too much about that. We had Grayson Waller and Eli Drake in there, as we thought Eli was going to be, or Eli Drake, LA Knight, excuse me, that's what he was called in Impact. LA Knight and Grayson Waller had some kind of fun segments. Overall, Halloween Havoc was a great fun event. As I said earlier, I always like these Halloween events, as they get to put a nice sort of scary spin on the wrestling genre. Once again, thanks for watching another video by Centipede Geek for my review of the WWE flagship events by the name of Halloween Havoc. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe below.